Hey everybody, so first of all, sorry that this video is taking forever to upload. I've been sick again. I don't know what's wrong with me, keep getting sick, going to see an ENT doctor at the end of this month again, so hopefully we can figure out why the heck I am sick and hoarse all the time. My voice is basically back to normal now, not totally 100%, so if I start coughing out of nowhere, that's why. So if you follow me on Twitter, which if you don't, you should right now, at MeganAGolden, you saw me tweet the other day about how I made my first ever 911 call. So that's what today's story time is going to be about. I did realize after I tweeted that though, that I don't think it was actually my first 911 call. I'm not 100% sure. When I was in a car accident, which that's another story that I could tell later, I think that I called 911, but actually I think I called the non-emergency hotline because it wasn't like a bad crash, everyone was fine. I don't really remember. Anyways, let's get into story time with Megan. Also, yes, I'm in sweats. Shout out to my high school soccer thing. Yes, I was the captain of the team, not because I was good, but because I was one of only 2 seniors on the soccer team, so that's good. And got rocking my... Anyways, that's beside the point. Let's get into story time. Oh yeah. So the other day, I'm sitting at home, and I guess it must have been a day I didn't have classes, and I'm sitting on my computer, and the way our house is set up downstairs is there is a wall of windows, and there is a table, and I was sitting at the table, and my back was to the windows. So I'm like working on homework or working on sending emails or something, I don't really remember. And I keep hearing the screaming, okay, which I know you're probably like, that would be a good indication that something is not right. But for me, I was like, oh, kids playing, you know, like I hear kids playing all the time. They're screaming and they're just, you know, having a good time. It kind of sounded like that. So I was like, no big deal, it's fine. So then I keep working and then I keep hearing this screaming and I'm like, what is going on? And then I start to hear this yelling, like people yelling at each other. So I'm like, okay, I need to go look, I need to investigate, put my FBI cap on and go see what is going on. So I go to the other window and I don't see anything, and then I go back to where I was sitting working at my laptop and I look right behind me and I had a clear view of everything that was happening right behind me. Of course me, so oblivious to everything in life. So I'm looking out the window and I see, well, I hear these people yelling at each other, and one person's like, you need to call 911, this is your fault, you did this. And I'm like, what the heck? And I see that there are a couple people standing around a guy who is on the ground. And the guy on the ground looks like he's very injured and he's like kind of like all like, you know, this. They're like trying to help him up and he's not getting up. And there's one car next to him and they're right beside the road. This is like right across the street from my house. My thought is, okay, there's a guy on the ground. There's a car right next to him. And someone's saying, you did this. So I'm like, this guy just got hit by a car. And I'm like, I don't know the extent to, you know, that he got hit. You know, sometimes you get hit by a car and it's like you die, or sometimes you get hit by a car and it's like you're injured, but like it's not super bad. So I don't really know. They're all yelling at each other. So I'm like, okay, I don't know if any of them are calling 911, but I'm gonna call 911. So I call 911 and I'm like, hi, I don't really know what happened. I didn't really see what happened. I just heard this yelling and I think this guy got hit by a car. So they start asking me all these questions. They ask me my address, they're asking me where it happened, and they're asking me, you know, a description of the car. So I'm telling them what this car looks like. I couldn't see the license plate number of the car, it was turned the other way, but I'm describing what the car looks like. They're like, okay, does the guy look like he's awake? Essentially, like, is he alive? Did he go unconscious? Or is he like, okay, trying to gauge, you know, how bad the situation is. And as he asked me that, the guy gets in the car that I thought just hit him. So I'm talking to the 911 person. I'm like, yeah, he's awake. And also, he's getting in the car that just hit him and they just drove off. The operator's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. It's weird. The 911 operator for sure thinks I'm like a lunatic. Like, so you're trying to tell me that a guy got hit by a car and now is getting in the car and driving away? I'm like, that's what appears to have happened. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I see right now before me. So then they drive off. The other people go back to their house. The people that were yelling at the other person go back to their house. That just happened right in front of their house. And they're always on the porch. Like, these people that it happened, like, they were probably sitting on their porch when this happened. So they probably saw everything happen themselves. But they go back to their house, back to sitting on the porch. I don't know why they're always on the porch, but seems like sketchy business to me. But anyways, that's beside the point. So then he's like, you know, he asked me some more questions and he's like, okay, all right, like, thank you, goodbye. So I'm thinking the police are going to like come to my house and ask me what happened. Then I remember that we have cameras on the outside of our house. I'm all excited, so I get on there and I'm like pulling it up and I'm trying to find where it happened to see. It was like not right in front of our house, it was over to the side, but luckily like the camera picks up like pretty wide range of stuff that's going on in front of our house. Right in the corner of the camera footage. I had to search forever to find it because it only records when there's movement. Like, if there's not movement, it'll just go ahead and delete the footage. But there's movement a lot because anytime a car drives down the road, like, it's going off. But I knew kind of like a rough time frame, but it was a little bit hard to find, surprisingly. So I'm pulling it up, I find where it happens. So my first thought is, oh my gosh, the FBI is gonna like come over here. Well, not the FBI. The cops are gonna come over here. I'm gonna have actual video evidence of what happened and they're gonna hire me and want me to be a private investigator for them. So I start watching the footage. I'm gonna insert some of the footage here, but let me first describe to you what happens. First time I watched it, I was so confused because you couldn't really see the guy get hit. So I was like, what? Before the car comes, he's not in the grass, but then after the car comes, he is in the grass. So the first time I watched it, I was like, where did this like, how did he just pop up in the grass? But then I watched it again. The numbers kind of cover where it's at. You'll see this when I show you the clip. The numbers kind of cover where it's at, so it's hard to see. But the door flings open in the car, and after it drives by, the guy is in the grass. So either homeboy jumped out of the car himself, or he got pushed out, which I feel like it's more plausible that he jumped out, because for someone to push him out, they would have had to open his door somehow, unbuckle his seatbelt, if he was wearing one, I don't know, and then push him with enough force as they're driving. So I feel like it's more plausible that this man just jumped out, completely jumped out of his car and injured himself. All right, so here's the clip. I want y'all to see this for yourselves. I'm sitting here and I'm like, when are the police gonna show up? Because I cannot wait to show them this video. This is so crazy, even though he probably did it to himself, so I guess there's no like criminal charges to be had. I can't wait till they get here so that I can be like, well, I have video evidence, so what happened? The cops never showed up, which maybe they drove past where I told them it happened and they saw nothing was going on. Maybe one of them did end up calling 911 and they said the guy was okay. Maybe they took him to the hospital, or maybe he was just fine, or, you know, whatever. So maybe they did come and I just didn't see them. But I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna come knock on my door and I'm gonna have this video evidence and I'm going to be a part of the law enforcement and I'm gonna be hired as a private investigator. But that didn't happen, unfortunately. So there's no really like resolution to the story. I don't know what happened. Hopefully the guy's okay, but that is the story of why I had to call 911 for the first time. Why all my stories seem to involve the police, I'm not really sure. This may not have really been the first time I called 911, but I think it was, because usually I call the non-emergency hotline. But I felt like that was an emergency because like I didn't know if this person's like going to live or whatever. But anyways, that's my story. So sorry it took so long to tell it, but I'm finally feeling better, so that's good. And I hope you are all excited for Christmas. Christmas is coming up soon. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So give me a thumbs up if you like the story time, and if you want to hear more story times, then let me know. Make sure to follow me on all my social media. I will see you all later. Mwah. Bye, guys.